All right, we'll go ahead and get started. And for those who are tuning in, welcome. Today, on the date of recording this, it is January 24th, and our virtual program is called Industry Research Using Statista. My name is Hadiza. I am the small business and nonprofit specialist here at the Kansas City Public Library. So before we get into just kind of the scope of what we're going to cover today, I want to just give a brief background on what Statista is. Statista is a database that allows you to find information in the form of statistics, reports, and graphs about various topics pertaining to major industries and global trends that are being covered. So what we're actually going to get into today, we are going to start off in Statista by using a keyword search to see how information is displayed and how we can sift through information and kind of refine a research topic pertaining to the consumer electronics industry. After we play around in the keyword search, we're then going to use the statistics tab to sort through information that pertains to the consumer electronics industry or technology industries. And then we're going to see what that looks like using the reports tab. This slide is just presenting a link to our digital catalog. If you're not familiar with it already, this is the link that allows you to access all of the different digital resources that the Kansas City Public Library has. And I believe this is not sharing correctly. So I'm going to pause my share and pull up the web page. All right, back to sharing my screen. Now I am on the Kansas City Public Library digital resources page. This is the A to Z list of the digital resources available through the Kansas City Public Library, available outside of library branches with your library card. So that applies to Statista. We're going to go to S for Statista, scroll. And now we can read the little blurb that describes Statista as housing over 1 million statistics on 80,000 topics from more than 22,500 sources and 170 different industries, useful in business, research, and academics. So from this description, we know that Statista is a tool that is applicable to research broader than just industry research. But as is evident by the title of today's program, we are going to be focused on industry research. Okay, so I'll click on read more. And on this page, I am able to access Statista by clicking on the Access Now button. All right, finally, we're in. Okay, so this is just the homepage of Statista. It's quite intuitive if you are someone that's already familiar with using different databases or familiar with doing keyword or key phrase searches. And so, as I mentioned before, we're going to focus on the consumer side of electronics to kind of guide our research and see what information we can find. I will reveal my hand and say that I'm personally very interested in learning about the trends of devices. And I'm interested in learning about the manufacturing side. I'm also very interested in learning about refurbished consumer electronics markets, given a lot of information that has been coming out more than has been the case in the past, just in terms of how um, different natural resources are used and exploited to create the different products that we use every single day, including the laptop that I am presenting this program. So this is to function as a live demonstration of how to use Statista, just given kind of like levels of different needs for information. So for me, I'm curious. For other people, they might be interested in consumer electronics because they want to see might be what might be going on as far as barriers or trends in the global consumer electronics industry because they're trying to break into that market with their business. Or maybe there is interest in more niche markets within the larger consumer electronics industry. It really, of course, depends on the individual. Um, so, as I said, with the keyword search, and I think we can go ahead and just frame this from consumer electronics. We see that there are some pre-populated keyword searches that are listed below the search bar here. Um, this could be very interesting for anybody that wants to find more information about the large trends that Statista has deemed important enough to put on the front page. Um, Global inflation is something that is going to affect everybody. So while you are doing your own research, if it is focused on understanding an industry for your knowledge as a business person or a business owner, um, obviously understanding global economic trends like global inflation, different economic indicators, having those reports is going to help you frame a lot of what you see. Okay, not to talk your ear off before we get into it. Um, we are doing the search for consumer electronics. And when I hit that search, uh, I am shown a list of results that tells me I have 29,708 results. That's quite a few results to sift through. There's ways that we can refine the search results here. As I said before, I'm interested in the consumer electronics market, especially on the manufacturing side, as well as the refurbished market. Um, so maybe I want to refine my search a little bit more so that I can narrow my options. I'm going to go ahead and say consumer electronics manufacturing, just adding another term, and we'll see what happens to the search results there. So that's gotten us down now to 7,614 results. And if we look over here onto the right-hand side, we can see that there's different ways to sort the search results. It defaults to sorting by relevance. So as you can see here, the first few results are talking about electronics manufacturing in the Philippines, in Japan, Mexico, Vietnam, Taiwan. This seems a little random. I'm kind of more concerned about consumer electronics manufacturing and how it pertains to the US, since we are in the US. I wonder if I add United States to this, if this will give us more narrow results. All right, so now that I've done that, as you can see, we have narrowed our search results down now to over 1,115 results. we've got this first result here that's titled Consumer Electronics E-commerce Analyzing Global Top Brands. Sales of the leading 13 consumer electronics retailers in North America. Consumer electronics e-commerce in the US statistics and facts. Okay, so if you haven't noticed, I want to point you to these three different icons here. These search results are presenting three different forms of information. This first form here, we've got this orange document with a plus sign. Let's go ahead and click on this and see what this is. Okay, so this is a report. Whenever you see a document, you know that you're going to be taken to a report that is going to give you information about a specific topic within the broader topic that you have searched for. So this is consumer electronics, e-commerce, analyzing global top brands. Before you download this, there will be a description for you to read to make sure that this is actually a relevant piece of information for what you're trying to find. It's also really useful just for your own knowledge, to when you have access to a description like this allows you to have kind of just like the broader definition of what a specific industry is. We have our understandings as consumers of what industry names are and what different niches are, but being able to see it from kind of the industry side of things, how things are labeled, is very helpful and will help with further refining any research questions pertaining to this. So let's read it briefly. The e-commerce market category, consumer electronics, includes the online sale of consumer electronics, e.g. radios, television sets, MP3 players, stereo systems, and DVD players. The category also includes hardware derived from the fields of communications electronics, e.g. desktop computers, laptops, tablets, and smartphones. Market volume, market growth, and all monetary figures at store level refer to the annual e-commerce net sales after the deduction of returns, yada, yada. Now we get into jargon. But this gives us a really good framing and grounding for what is the e-commerce market category called consumer electronics. What does that actually mean? So in this case, we're talking about consumer electronics, the actual products, and then the channel through which consumers are able to purchase these products, and that's through e-commerce. So this is a report, as I've said before. You can take a look at the content. It's kind of like a table of contents here so that you get an idea of all of the different subtopics that are covered within the report. You get some demographics, you get some behavior, global consumer electronics market trends and structure, the different brands, which is really important if you're trying to get in the weeds with this type of stuff. Then you've got the top consumer electronics stores. So just a lot of information here that is priced at a total of $495. Don't be alarmed, you're not paying for this. This is absolutely free with your library card or at any KC public library location. So you can download this and get a sample. Oh, okay, I think I was mistaken here. This particular report has not actually been approved for full download, but you can get a sample here. So let's look at what that looks like. This sample gives us just kind of an overview here. Let's see if we can find a better example here that will give us more of a full picture of what you can get out of Statista here without having to pay an arm and a leg, because that is not the point. And with that, I think this is a perfect segue into getting into the statistics tab here. So I'm going to click on that. And first, I'm going to hover actually over this tab. And when I do that, it gives us this drop-down menu here where we've got um, the options to select from different major industries. We can default to all industries, or we can start with one of the highlighted industries listed. Um, we were just talking about consumer electronics. Consumer electronics includes technology and telecommunications. So I'm going to click on that. And when I click on that, I basically now am on a path of exploring the industry here, if I want to. This is really just giving an overview of what this industry is, all housed within Statista. Um, they have categorized different subtrends within the industry um, as dossiers. So big compiled reports into one folder, basically. Um, we can explore consumer electronics here, hardware, IT services, any one of these topics. I'm going to go ahead and go with consumer electronics and see what I can find here. We've got another definition here, and then some more context. And they're naming the Russia-Ukraine conflict as one big factor that has affected the global supply chain as different other events. I know that COVID-19 is also listed. So we've got dossiers that cover different industry insights. I'm interested in if I really, there's a lot of things that we can go into. Um, when we are talking about devices, these are all devices. So what do we all use? At this point, everybody kind of has to have a smartphone, which was not the case really even 10 years ago. So it would be interesting to see like what's going on. Why is that the case? Why is this such a saturated market? I mean, there's so many reasons that any individual can state, but what does that look like on the industry side of things? Let's start with smartphones. Um, and this was an article published not even a week ago, 5 days ago, by Frederica Lerici, who is a research expert covering the global consumer technology industry. Um, so we've got a table of contents here. Let's take a look at the overview here. So we've got revenue worldwide, revenue by segments, IT devices, how much spending is on those worldwide, how much revenue is generated from the sale of smartphones worldwide from 2011 to 2022. Let's see what that is saying. This is just a graphic. So when we I'll go back to that in just a second to highlight the icon that uh, will let you know what kind of piece of information this is. Obviously, this is a graph, um, kind of a standalone piece of information here, but this allows you to just kind of take a look at um, a trend over time. So we can see that it's true. Yeah, in 2011, revenues from smartphones were in the billions of dollars, $161 billion. In 2022, that had almost more than doubled to 418 billion in a span of 11 years, which is very interesting. But you can see that it went down from 2021. Wonder what happened. Oh, maybe it had something to do with what they have mentioned here as a big factor in the supply chain, the Russia-Ukraine conflict. I'm sure there's other issues that have been occurring globally that are affecting supply chains. Some are more reported than others. But we know that global conflicts, especially when we're talking about an industry that uses a lot of natural resources, we know that global conflicts, especially when we're talking about resources and labor and things like that, uh, things will get a little bit messed up sometimes. So we know here that they've cited the conflict, and now in 2022, there's kind of been a beginning of a downward trend. It would be interesting to see what that looks like for 2023. All right. Um, Other statistics on the topic: telecommunications, quarterly smartphone market share worldwide by vendor, 2009 to 2023. Software, market share of mobile operating systems. So like, what is the software operating your phone? Is it Android? Is it iOS? Um, Telecommunications, smartphone mobile network subscriptions, and then countries with the highest number of cities in which 5G is available. It's a very interesting one. Um, so as you can see, there's a broad scope of things here. I am still interested in knowing about the refurbished segment. I wonder if I can find things in the reports tab. I'm going to go over to the reports tab. When I hover over that, uh, we've got digital and trend reports, industry, companies and products, country and region, politics and society, consumer and brand. I'm going to go to the industry and market reports again because this is industry research. So now we've got something a little bit different than what we've seen so far. Once we access the reports tab, we have a lot more options as far as how to kind of refine our search before even putting in a keyword. So before we do anything, before even telling the search bar we want to focus on consumer electronics, we know that there are a total of 7,399 reports um, under the industries and markets section here. Um, I want to focus on the US market. So I'm going to go ahead and select for the United States. So now that I've done that, we've got 923 reports just pertaining to the United States. Now I'm going to focus on the industry. And, ooh, this is hiding a little bit, but this is also kind of like revealing a little bit. Metals and electronics. I don't know how often is the case that people necessarily think about electronics as a kind of a natural resource, but the fact that it is categorized here as metals and electronics kind of tells you a little bit if that's not something that already jumped out to you. I'll click on that. That's very interesting. Oh, wow. Now we only have 18 results, but I think that's good. Um, Very interesting. This first article is called Energy Storage in the US. Then we've got e-mobility, in-depth market analysis, Industry 4.0, in-depth market analysis. Okay. All right. Ah, that's cool. So we've got a report that is specifically on refurbished smartphones in the US. And I haven't even actually used any search terms here. I'm gonna click on this one to see what this report has. So what we see here is that this report has 30 pages. This is a report that we can download. Before we download it, let's take a look at the overview. This is actually part of a bigger dossier that covers the worldwide consumer electronics industry. And it's talking mostly about the side of the electronics industry that is kind of like the post use before going back into the market. So we've got revenue of consumer electronics industry worldwide, then global electronic equipment repair service market size. And this is a projection into the future. As you can see here, we are not in 2028 or 2033, but these are projections that are taking historical data to then project using the indicators that have been identified as predictors. So we've got e-waste management, global electronics recycling, global refurbished and used mobile phone market size, global pre-owned smartphone shipments. Interesting. Um, I'm very interested in the United States. Let's see what we've got there. Okay, electronic and computer repair service, electronic goods recycling market, smartphone sales revenue overall. Um, and this is a projection. Market growth rate for refurbished smartphones. Know what that's like in the US. I'm specifically interested because there's so many advertisements for new phones. Um, every single year, upgrade your phone. I've actually never upgraded my phone. And just because it's never made sense. There's a lot of reasons why. But I wonder, like, for people that do, you know, why is there so much money, invested in the advertisement of new phones every single year with a plan? Get a new phone, get a new phone. They're supposed to last. So I'm very interested to see what that looks like. And as you can see here, I have kind of started off with just kind of a general curiosity. I don't have a business necessarily that I want to start in the refurbished phone category. I'm just interested as a consumer and I want to know more about the industry itself. Um, I want to go back to something that I mentioned but did not elaborate on. Um, I had pointed out the different icons that you see when you're presented with a piece of information. Again, we're seeing this icon here that's a list that's showing bars as a bar graph. Anytime you see this, you're going to expect to see some kind of graphical representation of a statistic over a period of time or through some kind of other lens. So let's look at market growth rate here of refurbished smartphones in 2022. Um, this is the overview. We're going to be able to look at that when we download the report as a PDF. So I can download that. This is going to take a second. Okay, so when I hover over the download button, I've got two options here. I can download a PowerPoint or a PDF. I'm going to download a PDF. Okay, let me make sure that the right screen is sharing. Okay. All right, so this is a dossier um, or report here. Um, oh, I misspoke. This is a report. This is covering the refurbished smartphone industry. with a special focus on the United States. So we've got the worldwide context and then the specific situation of the United States situated within the worldwide context. We've got three different sections here, or four different sections: worldwide, US, then smartphone depreciation, and then companies. Um, let's go ahead and take a look at, we wanted to look at the market growth rate for refurbished smartphones in 2022, and we can expect to be looking at a graph there, as indicated from the icon that we saw back in the Statista database. And right now we are looking at a PDF from Statista. Okay, let's take a look at this. It's very interesting. Okay, this is a, okay. Now, let's see, that's not the correct one. This is it. Okay. Refurbished smartphone market growth rate in 2022 by selected regions. So this is a comparison bar graph, just looking at the year of 2022 that is comparing India, Latin America, and China, and then the rest of the world listed as global. So it's very interesting that we don't have a section that's just highlighting the US here. So in India, the refurbished market growth rate was 19%, which is quite large. Latin America, also similar growth rate, which is 18%. And in China, the market shrunk by 17%. That might be something to take as far as like an examination of what's happened in China in 2022. Why did the refurbished smartphone market shrink by so much, by almost as much as it grew in percentage in Latin America? It's interesting. Um, and so then compared to the rest of the world globally, everybody, I think this is everybody combined, I'm not sure. Um, the overall growth rate was 5%. So the refurbished market has been growing, or was growing globally as a whole in 2022. Um, so there's a description at the bottom here. The description is saying in 2022, the global refurbished smartphone market grew by 5%. India was the leading country, recording a growth rate of 19%. Latin America followed, with its refurbished smartphone market increasing by 18% compared to 2021. Okay. No mention of China. This is very interesting. Um, there are definitely probably reasons for it. So one thing to note when we're looking at data, um, we want to understand where things come from. And that is something that we can access information on back in the Statista tool. And so we can take a look at what the report details say. We already saw that it's 13 pages. We see what formats of it's available in, what language. It was released in September 23, and the source comes from Statista. And they mentioned that the information was all compiled by their industry experts, and it includes all the relevant statistics and comprehensive data insights. So that is the information on the background of like where all of that information came from. If you want to know more about how Statista operates and how it actually gathers information, there should be an About section, and there is. You can click on the About Statista to learn more about the information that they have and then the services that they provide. So if you are still not sure about certain things, like what are the actual data sources, you can absolutely reach out to them at support@statista.com. And then there's also a fact sheet to download if there are additional lingering questions. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop there since we are coming to the end. I'm going to pull back up this PowerPoint and get to the end. So for those of you who are watching this, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to explore Statista as a tool to help you with industry research. We framed the research from more just a curiosity lens, but you can use Statista for more kind of like detailed, structured research, and that is something that I can absolutely help. You can contact me using my library email, which is just my first and my last name at kclibrary.org, listed here on this slide. There's also a link to schedule a meeting with me if you are trying to use Statista specifically to help you with industry research for a small business or nonprofit. That is the link to schedule a meeting with me. I've also included a link to the Small Business and Entrepreneurship LibGuide, as well as the Nonprofit Link LibGuide. So for those who registered for this PowerPoint will be sent so that way you have access to these links. Again, thank you so much for your time, and I hope that you took something away from this. And please take advantage of the resources that are available at the library. Thank you.